Hi, this is Misha, and I've got one here that I've been really waiting on since they announced it at Eaglemoss. This is the model of the Promellian Battlecruiser, specifically the Cleponji, as seen in The Next Generation, Season 3, the episode Booby Trap. This just came in this week, and I've really been anticipating it. For one, I had no idea what this looked like, so it is nice after 30 years to finally know. Also, I just kind of like the oddball ships, and I like the episode itself. And in an odd way, this also fits in with my Klingon ships. And for its Klingon reuse, you can check out the video I've done on Klingon cargo transport civilian ships. It was Nogras transport there. But for its appearance as a Promellian, that's what this video is about. So what do we know? Well, specs, this is a pretty massive ship. It's 600 meters tip to tip. Of course, a lot of that is length. It's been said in a couple of places it has about 17 decks, but this isn't verified. What we do know is it was powered by Lang cycle fusion engines, generators. So fusion was its power. It was warp capable, or at least FTL capable. It's always, a possibility they didn't use Federation style warp and had something else. This was a dedicated battlecruiser. The Promellians were in a generations-long war with the Mentharans, which the Promellians accidentally started by a scout ship wandering into a Mentharan religious solar system, and ships were destroyed and war were declared. The war would last until both species were annihilated, or at least near enough so that it didn't matter. And this all happened about 1,000 years ago, by the time of Star Trek Next Generation, placing it sometime in the mid to late 14th century. Meaning these are relic ships by the time of Star Trek, ancient, and records for the Promellians are very limited, and most ships recovered or were incomplete because they were warships. As you can tell, this has a lot of kind of external patterning to make it look primitive, or at least old. It does not seem to have used something like phasers. Possibly it used kinetic projectiles or torpedoes, or maybe a more primitive beam weapon. It's uncertain if it had any shielding. Quite possibly it just relied on hull armor. We don't know the crew complement. We do know that all on board this ship died when it was caught in the eponymous booby trap, where there were essentially generators hidden in an asteroid field that leached the power from the ship and turned it into radiation and projected it back at the ship. The radiation would then kill the crew. That's why the ship was in good condition, because it wasn't assaulted directly. But all of the crew died at their posts from radiation poisoning. We have engines on the tips here of the wings. We have an elongated bridge module at the front, kind of Klingon style. We also have a module in the back with weaponry and possibly sublight engines. And we have this mushroom, which I would assume contains maybe diffusion generators. I'm not sure. Interestingly, the underside is very concave, so it's kind of hollow. So it's a long and somewhat wide ship, but quite thin. The model itself here is mostly metal, which is great. The main body is metal, with basically the trim, the edge pieces being polymer. As is quite famously known, the Promellian Battlecruiser model was not originally made for Star Trek. It was originally made for a 1986 kind of comedy horror B film called Night of the Creeps, where it was actually presented in the opposite direction. This was the bottom. It was an alien ship. In that film, some aliens were doing a science experiment and jettisoned a canister to Earth that made mutant slugs come out that turned people into zombies. Yeah, that was the thing. So we see the ship at the beginning and the end of the film, at least one of the endings. There are two as it happens. Now that model in the film was actually not complete. It was only half complete, one side. So when they did it for Star Trek, they had to kind of finish it out, make a complete model. We saw it externally, especially the rear. We didn't really see the front much in the booby trap episode. We got to see inside of it, at least the bridge, where Picard comments that it was simple and elegant, not awkward and clumsy. It seems like the most advanced feature on these ships was the tactical systems, the tactical display and controls, so much so that early Federation designs attempted to mimic what was known as the Promellian Battlecruisers, which makes sense. Since these were dedicated ships of war, that would probably be their best feature. The Promellians really do seem to have a certain Klingon thing going. Physically, they have kind of Klingon forehead ridges and all that. They seem to be a warrior race, but also with a code of honor, not savage warrior, but yeah. In the episode Booby Trap, after they found the ship and then the Enterprise gets trapped, I think that Night of the Creeps kind of is an apt thing, because in the Star Trek episode, old Geordi LaForge makes a holodeck program, and he kind of starts creeping on a hologram of Dr. Leah Brahms, which very much comes back to bite him in the butt when the real one comes on board. But then, of course, he marries her, at least in an alternative future, so there's that. But I do think him creeping on her was something. Jordy. He needed more of Scotty's luck with women. You ever notice Scotty always seemed like he had a lass? Anyway, just wanted to share this one. Those who know me know that I love history, including the fictitious in-universe history of Star Trek. The ambiance, the atmosphere of when they're investigating the ship, the music and the tone is all very well done. It was neat to see an ancient alien race, and we get a glimpse of Picard's archaeological interest and background, which appears from time to time in other episodes. But yeah, I was really looking forward to this ship, and I'm not at all disappointed. I like the metal construction. It's got a lot of detail and patterning, and it's quite large. Not at all one of the tiny ones. So, I am best pleased, folks. And again, it was reused in a slightly altered form as a Klingon ship, so check out the Klingon cargo freight transport episode to see what the Klingons did with it. Anywho, as always, I appreciate you tuning in. Feel free to comment below. Just keep in mind, I do my best when it comes to videoing. I hope I got something on screen for you guys. Hey, look at it this way. You definitely have seen more than I have, so there's that. Anyway, if you could like, share, and subscribe. As always, I appreciate it. And I will catch you very soon next time.